seems a damn genius lately. TikTok talking, late night TV, still so much I have.
Alright, we're back in the US. I've been here for about a week now. I haven't been vlogging because I've been pretty busy with work, catching up with old friends and hanging out with my family. Finally got the day to myself, so I'm gonna go on a hike up in the mountains by myself, just sort of disconnect from the chaos that has been the past 2 months. Just take a few hours out of my day and just sit with my thoughts.
Before I knew this life was unkind, on a well-trained dog on a couple of acres, a kind lady and a place to take her. A few good friends I can count on one of my hands. I know I'm bound to die one day, so when I reach those golden gates, I pray to say I did the best I can. Sit with my mother and the dearly departed, send a prayer down to the broken-hearted. Let them know it all turns out just fine. To know me is to love me, and to hate me is to wrong me. I prefer my not so lonely love, blues, guitar, muscle cars, and gin. I'm a simple man, I don't need much, just my simple songs and some human touch. I'm tired now, so I'm bringing my ass home. So let me go down the line, let me feel it all, your pain in the sky. So let me go down the line, we all burn, burn, burn and die.
What the hell am I doing? Being here for the past week has really gotten me to reflect on how much my life has changed over the past year. So 1 year ago, I was in the same town that I'm in right now, and my life was probably at the worst it has ever been. Fast forwarding 1 year later, my life has changed so much, and I'm now the happiest I've ever been. And I credit majority of that change to one thing, and that being leaving my hometown and changing my environment. So backtracking to about a year ago, I had graduated college. I was more lost than ever in my life, and I was honestly borderline depressed. I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was partying, drinking, smoking, and never really thought about my future and how the actions I was doing in the present were going to impact what my life was going to look like in the future. On the outside, everything looked awesome. I had good grades and living like the ideal college life everybody sort of wants to have. But deep down, I was really lost. I was very empty. I was going down a path that I didn't want for myself. And I was in this sort of bubble surrounded by people that reinforced my habits that caused me to stay in that loop. The breaking point for me was when I went to the mountains with my friends and we were doing drugs, drinking, and at one point I got up really fast and I got really lightheaded and I passed out. And the next thing I know when I woke up is my friends like shaking me and telling me that they just called the ambulance. But that moment I realized that all of these things that I was doing, the environment that I was in was leading me down this path that I didn't want, that I knew that was bad for me. So after that moment, I realized I had to get out of this place. It was very easy to get trapped into the drinking, the smoking, the partying, and I didn't want that for myself, and I knew that the only way I would change was if I left everything behind. So I decided to move back into my parents' house where I had no friends and there was literally nothing to do except sit alone with my thoughts. And that was something that I had been running from for years in college, getting very uncomfortable with being alone, sitting with my thoughts and escaping through all these things. During that time, living with my parents, I think was the hardest thing I could have done in that moment, but also the best thing I could have done. The good things in life don't come easy, and realizing that has urged me to continue to get comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's the only way that you can grow. While I was in Florida, I really, for the first time, was sitting with my thoughts, and it was really tough at first because I felt like a failure. I felt like I wasted my 4 years in college, and what am I doing back here with living in my parents' house, and really beat myself up about it. But I knew if I continue to do that, nothing's going to change. So I decided to make a change. I started reading, I started meditating, I started journaling. And building those habits completely changed how I saw life. I read a book called Mindset, and that really changed how I perceived failure, and not seeing failure as something that's tied to your self-worth, and seeing it more as something to learn from, something to grow from, and continuously being on that improvement journey of failing and learning until you find that success. But that only comes with trial and error. That doesn't come with waiting for the perfect time or just saying, I can't do this, I can't learn this, and giving up. Journaling helped a lot with dealing with my own thoughts and emotions and confronting myself and telling myself the things I didn't want to hear and accepting those things and realizing that you can't make the change until you know what the problem is. And then meditating helped me with being able to sit alone, be in the present, and enjoy life, because we only get this one moment right now in the present that we're in. So why not enjoy it and try to make the most out of every single moment that you're on this planet. After about 6 months living in that sort of situation, I realized that I was growing a lot internally, but externally I still wasn't able to do the things I wanted to do. I wasn't able to meet like-minded people. I wasn't able to figure out what business I wanted to do if I was just going to be stuck in my bedroom. That triggered me to make another decision of moving all the way to China and changing my environment once again. It was a lot scarier because it was a sort of new culture and a bit of a new language that I didn't really completely understand. But I knew that I had to make a change, and that to me made the most sense because I wanted to become more in touch with my culture, become better at the Chinese language, and I saw China as a land of innovation and a lot of opportunity for me being American as well as Chinese and having that ability to bridge the gaps between the cultures. And that's why I decided to move to China. The first, few months in China was really difficult for me. Still figuring out the language, a lot of culture shock, a lot of isolation. I didn't have any friends. So I started trying all these different things, adopting this growth mindset. And from sourcing to e-commerce, dropshipping, then I started making these videos and started making short form content. And even then, when I first started making those videos for 2 months, I got zero traction, but understanding that I was learning and I was improving every time I made a new video. Keeping that mindset and staying consistent with that allowed me to stay with it until it started picking up traction, until it started growing. After that, things just started to skyrocket. I've met so many people, found all these opportunities and ideas, and now I'm executing those and connecting people through community. My life now is completely different. I've found the meaning, I found the purpose, I found something that I'm passionate about because I decided to change my environment. Now looking back on this past year of transformation, I've realized that, every hard moment, every difficulty, every setback is temporary. It's something that you should frame in a positive way, in that this is going to help you in the future. You just have to be able to stick with it, put your head down, and get through the tough time, because on the other side, things are clear. And the hardest part about that is you don't know when it's going to be a positive thing. But you just have to trust and believe that deep down, the things you are doing right now are helping, are working towards that future goal that you set. My biggest takeaway here is that your environment truly matters. The people you surround yourself with, the content you consume, the habits that you build is going to impact you as a person and your future. So you have to be very mindful of the places you're in, people you surround yourself with, and the content you consume, the things that you listen to every day, the things that you read. Take that step into discomfort, into the unknown, and trust that in the end, everything's going to work out.